News literacy is fundamental to what we believe in here at Newsy. As part of our News Literacy Week coverage this morning, we're looking at how younger generations are engaging with news and also dealing with all the misinformation that's thrown at us. In a recent survey by the News Literacy Project, 83% of college students say news is necessary in a democracy, and 63% said that following the news is a civic responsibility. Someone who is on the front lines with college students is Mirjana Pantic, digital journalism professor at Pace University, and she joins us live from New York this morning. Thanks for joining us today. So college students have really grown up with social media. I think my brother, he had his first phone. I mean, he was in elementary school still and always on social media, but they've been so exposed to misinformation and news their whole lives. So how has that impacted how they engage with news and current events?
Good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate it because this is an important topic to discuss. At Pace University, I teach digital journalism and communications. So for our students, it is important to get acquainted with this concept of news literacy early, and we try to introduce it in multiple courses. So one of the things that we usually teach them is how to critically assess news in general. So look at every story, try to see whether that story is overcritical, is incorporating some very critical information about another person. Check the story URL, see if images really depict what the story is telling us about, and look if that story that you're reading makes sense, if the information provided in the story is backed up. When we talk about news literacy, when we talk about this concept with our journalism students, one of the things that we emphasize, because we're educating new generations of journalists, one of the things that we emphasize is verification of information. That is a critical tenet of journalism, and we teach students how to ensure that each information they're providing to their audience is accurate and verifiable. So one of the things that they can do, for example, if they're using, especially because they rely on increasingly on social media to collect information, they also rely on other sources online to collect information. So we teach them that, for example, if they look for an information on Twitter, to make sure that they are using an information for a verifiable account, for an official account that carries a blue tick. But that doesn't mean that they're not supposed to be looking at unofficial sources. They should, but when it comes to unofficial sources, they need to be very cautious. So they should see whether the information published by that unofficial source has been published by some credible source as well. So basically, it is about cross-checking, looking around, making sure that everything you collected is verifiable, that you can check whether it is correct before you deliver it to your audience, because everyone can publish information online, but it is expected of news media to deliver the information that other people can rely on.
What are the biggest issues when it comes to younger people being exposed to misinformation? I think that has really taken center stage throughout this pandemic in the last couple of years, whether it's vaccines or mandates or masks or anything like that.
Oh, the biggest issue is basically that they can easily find an information that is inaccurate, that can be fake information, and they believe in that information and they just spread it further. So that basically what they're doing, they're not spreading fake news. They're just misinforming others because they believe that the news that they're sharing is actually accurate. One of the main problems, in my opinion, is that they're exposed to, we feel that we're exposed to this diversity of information, but because algorithms select what we consume, we're actually exposed to not a diversity of information, but we are usually exposed to the information that aligns with our attitudes, that is in line with what we usually read. So sometimes we just get this biased information and we tend to believe in what we see just because it doesn't it is not in conflict with our personal beliefs, and we obtain that information and we assess that we don't assess that information critically, and I think that's one of the problems. Another problem is that we live in this world where everything is delivered in real time quickly, and the problem is that we rush to republish information. We find something interesting online and we rush to republish it. And I will give everyone an advice that I would give to my students when they're submitting assignments. Read it once again before you submit it, because once you submit it, that is official. And I would also say the same for news stories. Read it, make sure that the story you are sharing makes sense. See if you can verify it anywhere. Make sure that the story is accurate, because it will take you a few minutes to just verify whether the story makes sense or not. But if you publish that story, especially if you're a journalist or if you're a journalism student, if you just publish that story, it will take you days, weeks, months to explain yourself before publishing such a story. So better spend a few minutes to verify whether the story makes sense.
Absolutely. Great points there. Mirjana Pantic from Pace University, thanks for joining us this morning, and have a good weekend.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I want to note here that Newsy's parent company Scripps is a partner in the National News Literacy Week. And for more on how you can boost your news literacy skills, visit newslit.org.